stock market today analysis for Aloha Friday, April 21st, 2023. I'm going to leave a link at the 1 minute mark right here to a video that will give you the unfair advantages of selling cash secured put options on stocks you'd be happy to own. Let's be real. In 2023, if you have an internet connection, a bank account, and you spend money at least once a year, you have no legitimate reason not to be selling cash secured put options on stocks you'd be happy to own. Doesn't take a lot of time. You can do this without spending a lot of time in front of a computer screen. You might have to learn how to do it. This video that's going to pop up here at the 1 minute mark, I believe is going to help you understand a big fundamental reason why this is so great. You saw it pop up right there. I put it at the 1 minute mark so it's easy for you to remember and watch this. Let's get into it. We had a little bit of things happen today, but let's look at what's going to be happening next week. Well, on this day right here, I'm flying to Arizona. I'm in Hawaii right now. I'm flying to Arizona. I'm going to have cash secured put options. I'm going to have covered call options sold already. And actually, I had a bunch of covered calls expire worthless today. So probably tomorrow, between tomorrow, I'm going to look at putting in some orders, but that's not in. Yeah, so that's what's going on with me. But what about these events? All right, we got this stuff coming up. Anything super? Okay, core, PCE, personal consumption expenditure. It's supposed to be the new fabricated number that supposedly the Fed dipweeds are really looking at. We see we got about 50-50 advancing, declining. We got 63% hitting new lows, still almost 60% below the 50-day moving average, 55% below the 200-day moving average. Really a mixed bag of red and green on the heat map. Anything China chips, yeah, we know that some things heating up in globally. Fed rethinks loopholes that mask losses on. Yeah, I bet. Anyways, this one's an ad, and all right. And nothing super market moving there. Who's buying right here? Okay, insider trading. We got the director buying a fair amount. We got people selling over here. Sometimes that's nice to know. Let's get into looking at the markets. How this ended up. The dollar is starting to kind of move sideways a little bit down on the month, but it's kind of getting out of this. It was in this kind of channel going down, but it's now starting to move sideways. Let's see if it continues that. TLT still out of this range right here, still on the low end of that range. The gold contract pulled back a little bit below 2,000. No shocker there. But if it maintains around here instead of going back to 19, 18 something, then that's definitely possibly building a new base. If you look at the price of gold, though, let's say 2000, in the year 2000 till today, I mean, you might be able to, month to month, kind of in a 6-month period, watch some fluctuations. But in a long-term picture, go back to the 1980s. What was an ounce of gold? Check out what is an ounce of gold today. Over here on oil, we pulled back a bit from in the 80s, but we're still in the high 70s. Let's see what it's going to do, be building out that base. Bitcoin futures, still in this between the 26 and the 30. It's getting a little closer to the 26, right? So same thing with gold. We'll see if it's going to kind of stay in this range and end up going up. I guess a big difference between, with the time frame, though, with Bitcoin, it doesn't have as much longevity as gold, so hard to compare in that sense. But at some point, it was like a couple pennies or a couple bucks, and it's considerably higher than that now. The VIX, sort of in this low range, right? VIX is under 18. It's low. SPX, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, Russell 2000. Looks like it's sort of having a hard time, right? We got a lot of sideways movement here. A lot of sideways movement here. Is it going to start doing some sideways movement? Sort of looks like it. Let's take a quick browse through the 12 sectors of the stock market. Sideways, hitting that up against that resistance, coming down off that resistance, sideways at the top though, right? Sideways at the top. Okay, we got bumped up a bit here in consumer staples, kind of in this range, sort of hitting the top end of that range. Energy going sideways. Now let's peek at the top 10 of the 4 ETFs. S&P 500. We looked at the SPX volume, not too bad, not as low as it was over here. Apple pulled back a bit today. Are we going to build a base and go higher? That's it. Or are we kind of topping out? Same thing. Are we building a base and going higher? Amazon. All right, Amazon bumped up a little bit today. Finally trying to do that. Is it going to do the same thing? Is it going to do the same thing here as it did over here? We'll have to wait to find out. Meta pulling back a little bit. I think I was mentioning, let's see, that something about not a surprise to see it pull back to the 210, but it starts pulling back here, lower than the 210. Let's see what's going to happen. I think it can easily pull back to the 210, and as long as it kind of stays in that range, not necessarily be a change of the bullish direction, but it really, if it starts breaking this 200, might have something else going on. Google, of course, has to be in here multiple times, and why that is, why it has to be in there multiple times, I really don't know, but apparently it has to, because they're going out of their way to keep it in there. Yeah, so we're pulling back off these highs, pivoted here, pivoted here, and pivoting here again, hitting this in this range, getting stuck in that. There it is again, kind of looking the same. Berkshire Hathaway broke out of this range, and now let's see if this 320 is going to become the new support. Tesla. All right, notice this pivot right here. What else do we got going on? We're at the 6-month chart. Let's see if this 180 starts becoming resistance. I normally close my windows, so if you hear that motorcycle, my apologies, but it's just it's a little too hot in here right now. Nvidia, same thing. We got if it's gonna stay above this 260-ish, right in here, and we see that pivot right in here. It seems like whatever this sort of range is right there, 260 to whatever, seems to be some support. So let's see what's going to happen, because maybe it's tightening up, right? If this is the resistance, supports right here, it's a like a $20 range, and maybe it's going to end up breaking one way or the other. Looks like JP Morgan Chase is getting stuck here in that resistance. Now, if you've watched these videos before, you know that the Q's top 10 is almost identical to the top 10. Look at that going sideways, and it looks like this got some new support right here at 315. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, Tesla. They have to put Google in there twice. Nvidia. All right, PayPal and Adobe. Those are the only two that are unique to the top 10 of the Qs compared to S&P 500. PayPal looking like Amazon, although Amazon up there touching this 200-day moving average. But for quite a while we had a lot of these stocks that either look like this, or they look like Berkshire Hathaway, where they were above the 200-day moving average. McDonald's was another one that was like that I can remember off the top of my head, and just kind of moving sideways. might be breaking out, or they're doing some sort of like NVIDIA, Meta, Apple type of bullish stuff. Sideways over here at Adobe at the moment. Let's see what's going to happen. We're hitting that resistance right in there. Let's look at the Dow Jones. Yep, got some resistance, right? This 340 seems to be providing some resistance to it. United Health Group. This one is really becoming more and more interesting to me to figure out a way to trade this, because it's so volatile. It just gets exciting to me. And looks like we're kind of stuck here under this. Maybe the 490s acting as resistance. Goldman Sachs trying to peek its head above this 200-day moving average, and at the moment it's above it, but it's got to stay above it, right? Let's see if that's going to happen. Home Depot, same thing, trying to get above that 200-day moving average. Not succeeding today, but it's going to be bumping up against it. Microsoft, we already looked at. Salesforce against this resistance right here. This is another one. It's got to pull all the way back here, I think, too, and be testing this 190-ish area in order to start violating that upward trend. McDonald's, right, I've referenced this one. It had been going sideways for a while. Then it really broke it out and just been a strong run to the upside. So this is one thing that, when I first started learning about option trading, iron condors were like the golden pinnacle. And it was like the most revered strategy, at least in Honolulu, during 2007 to 2009. That was my perception. But here's one of the dangers of the iron condor. You got to know how to adjust this. Iron condor is basically it's a credit spread above and a credit spread below, and you got to know how to adjust it in case it does this. Right? It would have been nice through here, right? If you would have been maybe like selling maybe like the 180, 185 or something like that. 185 by the 190. Excuse me, 285 and buying the 290 for protection, maybe something like that. I don't know. You got to keep it in between there. But when it starts doing this, you got to know how to adjust that, right? So some people would say, some people in general, they'll say selling credit spreads, it works and works and works until it doesn't. And when it blows up on you, it blows up big. So you got to know how to adjust those credit spreads if you're going to be doing that. That's one reason why I still sell credit spreads. I'll still buy credit spreads. But that's one reason why I love selling cash secured put options on stocks that I want to own, because I don't have anything to adjust. I'm happy with either outcome. And once you really, really start grasping that, like I'm getting ready to get on an airplane and travel for almost a day, right? Because I'm several hours ahead, and so I'll be moving in time zones that will be earlier than me. So I'll leave 8:30 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time, and I'm gonna get there at like 5 or 6, whatever standard time, which really adds on hours because it's going to be like, later over here. Here's the point. The point is I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be in the mainland. I'm going to be going to this conference, and I'm not going to have a lot of time to be doing adjustments. That's why with selling covered calls, when you're okay with the strike, having that called away from you, selling cash secured put options when you're okay with the strike and buying at that price, it just doesn't matter. It expires worthless. It doesn't expire worthless. It's all gravy. Honeywell. Testing that 200-day moving average. A lot of stuff is. So you see these ones. Was it Google was already above it? Was it Amazon starting to test? Some other ones that they're testing these 200-day moving average. I think we're getting to a point where I don't know when. I don't want to say next week because it could be weeks, several weeks out. I don't know exactly. But I think we're coming to a point in the market where if it doesn't keep going up, it's probably going to go down. How far is it going to go down? We'll talk about that in a minute. And I don't know for sure. I'm just going to be guessing, right? Nobody really knows. I could guess with a lot of confidence, and I could try to fool you into believing that I am 100% certain. and I could maybe even fool myself, but you know, I don't know if you know, but there's a lot of people like when Conor McGregor was saying that that his fist is as big as Floyd Mayweather's head, and that he knew he was going to beat Floyd Mayweather, right? This guy gets up there on stage, talks with all this confidence, and he keeps losing. So same thing with the stock people. They get up there, they say all this stuff. They don't know, like, unless it's a rigged fight, unless they're letting you in. Look at this going sideways, right? So let's see if this is going to break out to the upside. So just keep that in mind. Like, when someone's 100% confident, they absolutely know the stock market is going to do X, Y, Z, then I don't think they do. I think they know, or maybe they want you to think they know, but we're stuck under this that stuff right there. But still kind of doing the sideways. I don't know why they have this crappy stock in there, but nonetheless. Here we go. Look at that shockwave. Shocked up. It shocked a wave of people. came down right here to the 206. Look at this. That was some institutional money in there for sure. Look at that. Blowing that up. Oh man, that was a good one. Biohaven. So what's the point? The point is, like, there's a lot of people, they just talk like they're absolutely 100% positive, and maybe they are, but it doesn't mean they're going to be right. And I hope you know by now that just because someone has a lot of confidence, I'm basically like, I'm kind of getting to be a salty veteran in the sales world, and I've just seen it time and time again where someone comes and they got all this confidence and they're I'm gonna blah 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 blah, all this stuff, and then they roll over, show their belly, pee on themselves, and waddle away with a dog with a tail between the legs. Look at this one, was going sideways and broke out up to the top. So there's confidence is great, la da da da, get you chicks or whatever it is you're interested in. Some people are attracted to people with confidence, but don't confuse confidence with skill, right? Don't confuse cocky arrogance, confidence, whatever, with skill. Some people just got skill, and they don't. And sometimes skill is understanding. Look at that. That's just beautiful. I love that. It's just sideways volatile. Look at that volatility right here, springing up here. Sort of started riding this 200-day moving average, moving up. Let's see how that's going to go. So another one. Not much volume on that though, but it really kind of popped up here. So what's the point of that? The point is, there's just like, it's how it is. For some reason, you got certain people that I almost feel like they really are. Sometimes, it's not 100% of the time, but sometimes they really don't know. They really don't have, they're not confident in their skills, so they have to appear like they're confident. For me personally, when I'm really confident with something, I don't care if you know it or not. It doesn't matter to me if you know what I know, because I know it, and I'm going to do it whether you understand it or not. I don't really care. That's how I've been for kind of a while. Like, and then if you start figuring it out, and then without me telling you, you start getting it, good for you. If you don't, then it just shows me you are not that bright, because I'm doing it in front of you and you're not able to catch on. That's okay with me too, because whether whether another person understands something or not doesn't really affect my income in my life. Now you could say, well, Brent, if you're a salesperson and this person doesn't buy for you, hey, I move on to the next one. I just move on. I don't live a lifestyle that one person is gonna, their yes or no is gonna dictate it. So let's get off from that philosophical type of build skill and let real confidence come out of you without needing to whatever. And someone that has true confidence, they're totally okay with saying they don't know. If there's somebody that they can't admit that they made a mistake, they can't admit that they don't know, then if that's you, figuratively, theoretically, slap yourself in the face emotionally and get yourself out of that crap. And be aware of catching other people doing that. Just realize they're doing it. So, like I was saying, if it doesn't go up, it's going to go down. How far is it going to go down to? We don't know for sure, but here's this range that's kind of been in. We're still in here between some people's favorite numbers. They got the 420 and the 380. And until it's breaking either direction, it's like just stuck in this range. And I get it. It's not really. It gets kind of close. Look at it. It's getting close to the 420 here. This is as close as it got over here. It got past the 420 here, but couldn't hold it. It got close right there. And then what's it do? It comes down here, 380, right? Coming back up. I get it. It went below. So the 360 is the next part. Maybe the 440 would be the next part. But here, look, it pivoted right on 420, right through here. Stuck in that 420. Look at that, right through here at 380. So if it's not going to go up, it's probably going to go down. Or, ultimately it's going to go up and down and maybe continue to go sideways. More of these like talking heads that I listen to. I don't know if talking heads is the right definition for them, but people that I listen to have been listening to for years. Like, truth be told, going back to 2007, I started learning, and I still learn. So going back to 2000, I've been listening to some of the same people since 2007. Some people I've just been listening to for the last 5 years. Whatever the case is, these different people that I know are professional traders, or I believe to be professional traders. They seem to have a better understanding of this stuff than me. There's very few people that are bullish. There's a good amount of people that are bearish. There's a few people that are thinking kind of like a sideways grind. And once in a while, I'll hear some sort of weird case to the upside, but it's not even like a good case to the upside. It's more of like, well, it's not as bad as people make it out to be, which doesn't really mean it's good. It's not so bad. You didn't lose your full arm. You just lost your fingers. They're making it to be way worse than it is. It's really quite good. You still got your wrist, right? So that's what we're looking to see. But I tell you what, if you learn how to sell cash secured put options on stocks you don't mind owning, and you learn how to do wheel strategy, and you got some stocks that you want to hold for the long term, and you got some stocks that you're more likely to do the wheel strategy on. If the stock market's going down and you know what price you want to pay for these assets that you want to hold for the long term, buy them. Buy them. I can't think of anything wrong with acquiring income-producing assets. I just don't see how you can go wrong. Acquiring income-producing assets. How could you go wrong by acquiring income-producing assets? Think about that over the weekend and see if you can come up with any reasons how your life could be worse by acquiring income-producing assets. You want some help from me? Free help, paid help. And speaking of help, I'm going to help myself to a Friday night. Aloha.